Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video, you will learn to say more than, less than, and same as in Italian. So we're going to be learning to use Italian comparatives, what we call il comparativo. In Italian, we will use what we call il comparativo di maggioranza when you use the little word più to compare two things. Paolo è più alto di Mario. This will translate to Paolo is taller than Mario. The little word più actually means more. Obviously, in English, you have a specific comparative word. So taller, you're not going to say more tall than. You will just simply say taller, okay? But if you need to sort of translate più, you can translate it to more. So in this sentence, Paolo è più alto di Mario, you're simply saying that one person is more of something than the other. If you use meno instead of più, you are going to have what we call il comparativo di minoranza. So, for example, you could say Mario è meno alto di Paolo. In this case, you're saying that one person is shorter than the other. Meno will translate to less. But obviously, you can also say that two things are the same. In this case, you have what we call il comparativo di uguaglianza. Look at this example. Paolo è alto come Mario. So you're saying that Paolo is as tall as Mario. So far, so good. But you know that there's a little tricky thing coming up, right? There is. And the tricky thing is that more than and less than can actually be said in two ways. You can say più di or più che. Meno di, meno che. So basically, it's only the part that would translate to then that actually changes in different situations. Let's see when we use di. You will use di when you're comparing two things or two people. You can use two different nouns, or you can compare two different personal subjects. Let's look at some examples. An example with nouns, so comparing two nouns, can be l'aereo è più veloce del treno. In this case, you're saying that the airplane is faster than the train. Airplane and train are the two nouns. Let's look at when we're comparing two different personal subjects. Tu sei meno alto di me. In this case, I'm saying you are shorter than me. And I'm using two different subjects. I'm comparing tu and me. Remember that when you have a preposition followed by an article, when necessary, you will have to make a change and you will have to create a new preposition, what we call preposizioni articolate. Okay? So that's why in the first example, you have l'aereo è più veloce del treno. Okay, you have del and not di. So remember to review those if you have some doubts. And on the other hand, when will we use che? You will use che when you have to compare two or more adjectives, verbs, nouns, pronouns, nouns with a preposition beforehand, or when you have to talk about quantity and numbers. Let's look at some examples. Here you're comparing two different adjectives. La casa è più sporca che bella. This translates to the house is dirtier than beautiful. In the next example, you're comparing two verbs. Leggere è più interessante che guardare la TV. So you have two verbs, leggere, to read, and guardare, to watch, and you're comparing the two. This translates to reading is more interesting than watching TV. You can also have two adverbs. Sono più comoda qui che lì. And this means I'm more comfortable here than there. So you're comparing two different adverbs and you're saying which one is more or less than the other. Let's look at noun plus noun. In Italia ci sono più chiese che persone. The two nouns are chiese and persone, and this translates to, in Italy, you have more churches than people. Let's look at an example where you have a preposition before a noun or a pronoun. Anna è più gentile con te che con me. Anna is nicer or more gentle with you than she is with me. Vivere a Milano è meno caro che vivere a New York. In this case, you're comparing two cities, so two nouns, and you have a preposition a Milano, a New York. The sentence means living in Milan is less expensive than living in New York. And the last thing, you're going to be using it when you're talking about quantities and numbers. Let's look at this example. Nella classe di latino ci sono più donne che uomini. In this case, you're saying in the Latin class, there are more women than men. And here you're talking about quantities, right? Because you're talking about how many people are in that class. So you're talking about a quantity and a number. If you need to do some exercises, I strongly suggest that you pair this lesson with the grammar book that I mentioned in the link in the box below. If you go to page 167 of that same book, you have lots of exercises on comparatives in Italian. So I really strongly suggest that you purchase that and that you continue to match my videos with lots of exercises. This will for sure level up your Italian. If you need anything, let me know in the box below, write a comment, or get in touch with me by email at julia@italianlanguagehub.com. Un bacione! Ciao!